Do you ever see a saying or a phrase and you go, oh, that's it? Okay, I feel that way about a shirt that I found about 9 months ago. It's still my favorite. Take a look. Can't adult today. I felt that way so many times. I never really had a phrase to put with it, but that's what it is. Dr. Nick joins us today.
It's great.
It summed it up.
It's a great t-shirt. Yeah.
And you can see my joy. I'm like, oh.
Yes,
it gets me.
It's like, and I don't. It would even be better if you could have said, "I won't." I just won't adult today.
Which begs the question: when are we an adult? And is it okay sometimes not to be an adult?
Whitney, it is. I think today's show ought to be all about questions and let the audience answer them.
Okay.
All right. When is it okay to not be? What is adult?
Okay.
What's the rite of passage for adulthood? If there is, and you think there's not, when does one become an adult? Is it after graduation from college? Is it when you're working full time? Is it when you're not living with mom and daddy?
Good question.
To a 40-year-old that's gone back home? Is it when you have kids?
When you turn 18, 21?
Is it when you turn 18?
Is it a number?
Is it a 21? Is it a GED? Is it? And then I'll ask people, tell me what you think adulthood is, and I get that look like they're looking again at the deer in the headlights. It's like everybody can tell me what adolescence is like. Defiant, peer pressure, exploring, doing stupid things without thinking,
Right.
We can talk about childhood and all the childish behaviors and spontaneity and imagination. But when we get to adulthood, and there's also, I think, a bias. It's almost like when we think about adulthood, it's like, don't make me. It sounds so boring and so responsible.
Yeah, heavy.
I was thinking of you when I think you spent a few minutes looking for the shirt, and I was thinking, it seems to me the adult in you would have known where that shirt was.
I know, I'm crushed.
Because you would have organized it. I mean, there are things that almost define adulthood. Behaviors do define it.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Of course.
I mean, and I'm not, but again, it's almost like we don't want to be. I don't want to be responsible. I don't want to have to think. Look, watch some of the television shows, particularly some of the cable news, and I'm telling you, you're going to hear a whole lot of child and adolescent behavior.
Right.
Adults, when you hear somebody that's adulting, you know it. Mm-hmm. It's just hard to define it. You just know. It's like, wow, what, solid ground, grounded, mm-hmm. secure.
Yes.
Makes good decisions. I mean, what is adulthood? I think it ought to be a conversation in every home.
Yes, I agree.
And is our conversation going to be adult tonight, the two of us, wife, husband? Are we going to adult conversation this, or are we just going to escalate emotionally?
Right.
Which is what adolescents can do so well.
Sure. Last night I went out with a friend of mine, Tanya, and we went to happy hour and celebrated my birthday. And she texted me this morning and just said, I had such a great time. It was so fun. I'm back here at work though, and I don't feel like adulting today.
Wow.
And I thought that was funny. So it's that playtime, and then we just kind of want to still be in it.
Yeah, well, but see, it raises the question: why was it what y'all were doing last night also a part of adulting? And I know it was probably more childlike and more, we're just playing. But again, why can't adults play and still be adults?
True.
It's like having to get up and go to work. It's like, that's no fun. But work can also be fun.
Sure. Yes.
It can be fun.
Right. Not that kind of fun, but fun.
Okay. All right, but you hear where I just think it's more about the question. This is a conversation that I think we ought to have in our society. I really do. What does it mean to be an adult? And are we acting like adults in this situation? And are we trying to get out of it like an adolescent might do? Right.
Or how about when do we treat our children who are older as adults? Like, mine is
good question.
In his second semester of college at the University of Colorado at Boulder, and his father was not very happy that he got 2 A's, a B, and a C. It was a C that devastated him. And I said, you need to relax just a little bit. It was calculus 2, an incredibly hard professor, and he's made so many incredible adjustments. He has moved out there by himself. And I said, he's had to be an adult in just 4 months. I think he's made tremendous progress, but he didn't see it that way. He was like, shouldn't have gotten the C.
Interesting. See, and I think the question that I would raise would be, he's not an adult. He's not. He's still he's in that exploratory, experimental, challenging, trying to balance all the many aspects that come along with being 19 years old or
Right.
18 years old.
Okay.
And maybe again, there's the expectation that is maybe too high. See, you see how it's not that clear. I would be very hesitant to say that Reed at 19 is an adult. I'd be very hesitant.
Sure. I think his father would say he's an adult when he's paying his own bills.
I would be a little bit longer. I'd be a little bit more prone to say that too.
Yeah.
But
But he's having to do so many adult things that I gotta kind of put him in that category.
I agree with you, and that's why it's so difficult to find that rite of passage. Is it back and forth when you're at that stage of life, or is it back and forth at all stages of life?
Sure.
See, I think. And I'm back to Reed again, because I think he is moving into adulthood, but it's back and forth. It's almost temporary. I think he's being very responsible. I bet you there are times he's not being responsible.
Oh yeah, and he's doing some of those foolish, crazy things, and of course, yes.
And that's when we almost have to just kind of cross our fingers and pray and say, let's hope he gets, let's hope he reaches it.
Yes.
But that's not nearly the problem, Whitney, that comes when somebody's 45 and acting like they're 15.
Sure. And yes.
Or 19. That's when I think the question really needs to be raised. What would the adult in you do?
Is that how we should say to someone who's not really having that kind of conversation with us that we need to be having?
I have asked people, especially when they least expect it, how old do you feel? I love to ask it. And they'll say, oh, about 15. I'm like, okay, could we try to be maybe 36? What would it be like to be 36? And you can almost see, well, gosh, yeah, I probably wouldn't be saying these things.
Interesting.
You just start thinking about, what 63. Ugh, I don't want to even think about that. That's not adulting. But I mean, that's part of the problem. When we're adults, we have to get old.
I know, right? I'm glad there's not another adult, like old adulting or something. Haggard adulting.
I know you see the excitement. I just think it's a great discussion.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one of these highly researched discussions. I think it ought to be very experiential. When does one feel like they're an adult? And is there a rite of passage for it? I'm guessing still graduation from college would be a good one.
Yes, I would think
full-time job, being independent financially would be a good one.
Oh yes, getting married.
Getting married would be a good one.
Having a child.
Do you hear the different kind of rites of passage? Start raising a family. Mm-hmm. It's learning how maybe to adapt, maybe more so than ever.
Yeah.
In the adult world.
And I also hear having more responsibility.
There are more responsibilities. But see, I just think that should come with the territory.
You're right.
I don't know that has to be such a negative to be responsible.
Right. In conversation, we should be adult-like most of the time, and then we need that playtime. I can't adult today.
and but remember, part of adulting can be, and I say this with all due respect to those who can't, but if I want to have a drink, I choose to take an Uber.
Right.
That's adulting.
You're right.
I'm playing, but I'm also being responsible.
You're right.
That's adulting.
Yes. Adulting responsibly, as we should in our conversations that are important with other adults.
With other adults.
Especially spouses and bosses, or times when you really do need to be.
Yeah, and
adulting.
Adulting, I could go on forever with this because I just think it's a fascinating topic.
Yeah.
What is adulting?
It is.
And do we need more of it?
Yeah. Hey, good conversation.